It is 12:59. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans making moves on this Thursday. The team cut offensive lineman Rodger, Saffold, and Kendall Lamb this morning. Those combined frees up about over $13 million in cap space. The Titans also agreed to a one-year deal with long snapper Morgan Cox, the team announced this morning. SEC tournament play is in full swing right now in Tampa, and Florida trailing to Texas A&M 62-53 with just over 3 minutes to play. Winner of that game plays top-seeded Auburn in the quarterfinals. Mizzou and LSU go head-to-head at 1 p.m. for the right to face Arkansas, and Mississippi State and South Carolina will face off at 5 to determine who plays Tennessee in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Vanderbilt taking on Alabama after routing Georgia on Wednesday. Tip-off tonight between the Commodores and the Tide is at 7 p.m. Throughout the day, you can catch the SEC tournament action on 1045thezone.com or the 1045 The Zone app. Potential upset alert in the ACC tournament. 2-seed Duke taking on 9-seed Syracuse right now and only up by 3 late in the second half. Nashville Soccer Club has officially announced naming rights for the new stadium at the Fairgrounds. Geodis Park is where Nashville SC will open up its home slate on May 1st against Philadelphia Union. Coming up tonight, after defeating Dallas to jump to 4th in the Central Division, the Preds are back in Bridgestone, continuing a 3-game homestand against the Anaheim Ducks. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 1045 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. Happy Thursday to you. We're sharing some high school basketball stories in here, boy. Now, that's a good topic right there.
Yeah, especially for us tall people.
Yeah.
Like me and you.
Only my team had a 6-foot-tall post, man. We were not good. Just know that. We were not good. It has not been a good day for Rodger Saffold, although maybe it is a good day because he's going to get a whole new contract somewhere. But we could look at it like that. Rodger Saffold cut loose by the Tennessee Titans. Not a surprise, Blaine. Signed a 4-year deal. He played 3 of those years, but it was a $10 million cap savings to let him go. The biggest news out of Titans land, Kendall Lamb also cut loose, backup offensive lineman. He really didn't. He just really didn't do much for the team this year. Didn't give him much depth. Didn't play a whole lot.
That's
That
was not a good signing. I'm still mad about the Undertaker. Maybe he'll be back since his brother's on the team, right? As a coach.
I think Titans fans would say, where do we sign up for The Undertaker to come back?
Man, you know what hurt me about The Undertaker?
He was a versatile guy, was going to start at right tackle. He played tight end in games. He started a bunch of games where he was extra blocking tight end. Could play anywhere you put him. I guess they, just had to make a money decision. You can't keep everybody. So The Undertaker cut loose. Kendall Lamb brought in as a guy to maybe come in and compete, and he couldn't beat out
Quisenberry.
So Quisenberry's actually a free agent. Ben Jones is a free agent. So Rodger Saffold is released. How different is this offensive line going to look next year?
Yeah, they're definitely going to be retooling. And you got to plan on your man Radens is going to be maybe at the left guard, I'm assuming, or right tackle, depending on where you think. Where do you think they're going to actually play him or push to, play him? What position? Because he did play tackle in a game, but they were forced to because they had no other options. I mean, let's keep it real. And I like the kid.
I do too.
I mean, the guy plays hard, and they keep saying he's not ready yet, and he's still, like he needs development in the weight room to on the field, a technician, and all these things. And I'm like, man, they need somebody to play right now. If you're trying to go on this run, and you have 1 year of the window, maybe 2. That's it of this group of guys. So, and he's been here. So I would hope that he would be the leading candidate, at least guard or the tackle spot. Then I'm just interested to see where they're going to put him.
I just remember watching him in the preseason.
Against the Falcons is all I can remember.
And do you remember that dude played guard? He played tackle.
I like what I saw.
And he played remember he played more snaps than I don't have snap counts the preseason. My eyeballs saw Dylan Radens out there with the first team, the second team, the third team. He was always out there.
Well, here's what I can say why I say I like what I saw. Not to say he was technically sound or that he didn't have any errors. what I saw was dog. I saw meanness. I saw aggressiveness. I saw him running downfield making blocks. So those are the things, okay, and as a coach, that's how I'm looking at it. I say, I can work with that. I can work with that because those are the things you can't teach. You can teach the technique and everything else, and you can get him in the weight room and get him stronger. So I thought, man, him. And then for him not, I was shocked and stunned that he wasn't dressing some games. Like, wow. So, sometimes coaches don't see you because the lights aren't clicked on. Yep. And when I say that, I'm talking about they see you at practice. But sometimes you see a guy at practice, you say, man, he's a great job in the game. And then lights click on, and all of a sudden, click on mean game time. And then he becomes some average guy. Mm-hmm. Well, I think Ratings is the other guy. He's the guy when the lights click on, he plays better. Mm-hmm. And see, the coaches are going to say, well, all I can do is go by practice. You got to have a feel, got to understand who you're dealing with, and then you will know exactly the guy to pick. And they pick him wrong all the time. And no different than the GM's picking the wrong guy.
Oh, remember, and just a college example, but every Tennessee fan knows what we're talking about. Remember Josh Dobbs didn't practice well?
Oh, that was irritating me. He got in the game. I said, it's clear that this guy is the better player. I mean, everybody saw it.
You know who was a great practice player at Tennessee?
I don't start me with this.
Nathan
Stop
Peterman.
that.
I don't think I need to say the name.
Who?
Jared Garantano.
Well, yeah.
I just remember Dobbs getting out
really
there.
robotic in games.
Yeah. Dobbs getting out there running and throwing and just the game against South Carolina?
Yes, on the road.
Is that's the signature Dobbs game where that game was lost.
That's his breakout, yeah.
Oh my Lord. And they were going to redshirt him. It was just not don't see it in practice.
2 times, 2 seasons they wanted to redshirt him.
Yeah. So it goes on all the time.
Yes.
And it almost is like, you got to understand. That's what I'm saying. You have to understand your player more than deciphering, like how he's doing at practice, especially at the quarterback position. Is he a leader? Do they follow him? Do they believe in him? The players. Mm-hmm. Tap in. When I say that, then tap into your other players and ask them. Ask them on a drive-by. Catch them off guard when you're walking, to the locker. Hey, man, what do you think about you? You like them? And, do you believe in them? Yeah. Oh, yeah, especially your leaders on your team. It's a leadership group in college. So, yeah, I you got to put him out there. Like, here's what I look at. What's the difference between him and Nate Davis? I did not think they should put Nate Davis out there. They put him out there. They let him grow into the position in game. He was getting, like, grades of 20 and 30%.
Sorry, man. Go back out there. Get better. And he got better.
He did. So we got to do the same thing with Ratings. I'm sorry.
He's a second-round pick. You missed on the Panda. We've all talked about that enough. You can't miss on the Panda and then Ratings. You just can't keep missing on first.
I would be a horrible owner because I'd be like, well, why is Ratings not playing? I know you guys picked him, right? I mean, right. I'm the owner, and I co-signed over it, but you guys did your job. Why is he not playing? Wait. Why is he not dressing? See, you can't do a lot of that because they were winning.
Yeah.
But as soon as you had an issue with the position, you go, well, he has to step up. This is his turn. And then go, no, we're going to draft a tackle in the first round again. Huh?
Look at Ratings' check. See whose name is on there? That's mine. I signed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to play that guy.
He's got to play.
Yeah, we're going with it. Watch this. Then this is when the owners mess up. Jerry Jones. We've drafted a wide receiver first round. You see them dudes flying? They were flying with the wind in at the combine.
It was like Al Davis. He always wanted the fastest receiver he could get his hands on.
He just wanted a speed guy. He didn't care. Right. He didn't care. And those guys, not all of them, but half of them made it and half of them didn't. They were like, 1-year wonders.
He had Cliff Branch. Then he spent the rest of his life looking for the next Cliff Branch.
Oh, yeah, man. They always had fast
receivers. They always had fast receivers.
And guess what? Their best one, Tim Brown, was not fast like that.
No.
He was not fast like that.
Well, Fred Biletnikoff, not fast at all. But you had Cliff Branch, so speed kills. And
what was his number 25? What was his number?
Cliff was 21 and Biletnikoff was 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you going back, before my time.
I know.
I know. I heard of those names though.
There's a Fred Biletnikoff award that tells you how good he was.
I love when Lucas looks up at the TV like he don't know, like he's not paying attention. He's like, who the heck is Biletnikoff?
I know Biletnikoff.
You know the award.
Yeah, well, I watched enough Peyton's Places to familiarize myself with some of that history that maybe I wasn't
That's
aware
where you're
of.
learning football history is Peyton's Places.
Hey, it's a good show. And I'm looking up at the TV in hopes that Duke will get knocked off, but that's looking less and less likely.
They just pulled up by 8 with less than 50 seconds to go.
Over.
Yeah.
I think you got to. Most people got to enjoy Coach K Day getting destroyed by UNC. They may start waking up here.
I was waiting for Lucas to give us a Blitnikoff stats or something, man.
Was Blitnikoff, am I going to show myself here? Is he the one with the sticky hands?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, you showed yourself. The Raiders seem
That's
to have
about all I know, too, Lucas.
the market cornered on Stickum, Fred Biletnikoff. Yeah, he and Lester Hayes, the judge, the cornerback. Lester Hayes really – there's an argument that the Raiders won one Super Bowl in the 70s. They won 2 in the 80s. A lot of people are saying, why do you keep trying to put all the 70s Raiders in the Hall of Fame? Because Pittsburgh won 4. They were a better team. Had it not been for Pittsburgh, there's no telling. John Madden would probably have another Super Bowl or 2. The Oilers might have a Super Bowl had it not been for Pittsburgh because they kept knocking the Oilers out in the 70s.
I don't play that game. They didn't.
They did not. No,
they
did not.
So we could have won a Super Bowl if Dyson would have reached. This team, if Tannehill would have threw so many interceptions, we might have made it further. Might have made a Super Bowl.
You're making John Robinson emotional again when you talk like that.
That's why I don't go there. It'll make me take some deep gulps, and then all of a sudden my heart starts palpitating. It's like, I get nervous. Like, oh man, why is my heart doing that? Almost like how I felt when I was coming out telling when Lorenzo Neal gave me that whatever he had in his coffee. I have no idea.
Did he put it in your coffee?
No, I said, hey man, let me try some of that because he was out there just bulldozing people.
Yeah,
So
I want that.
Yeah, I was like, hey man, pour that in my Gatorade cut and let me see what's up. I went and got a cup and he said, all right, cool. And he just looked at me and said, all right, man, let me know how it go.
Oh, so you just had a little bit. You didn't even have a whole
You didn't have the whole cup.
He gave me like half. Yeah, he gave me half. I thought I was gonna die. I literally thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I MF'd him the rest that next day. Say, hey man, even after the game and even after the warm ups, I said, hey, I can't breathe. Yeah, I don't know what he just started. He did exactly what you did when I said, what's in there? He never told me. He just starts laughing. I mean, he goes to the ground.
That's terrifying.
It was. I said, I will never trust him ever again.
Never told you what was in it?
No.
Like the precursor for what became 5-Hour Energy or something?
It was way more powerful than that.
Something he made in his basement.
I don't know, man.
Was it made from
I
sheep
think he
whiz
just,
like
made a
Bill
concoction?
Romanowski?
He probably mixed some stuff in there, man. Yeah, Lee, I learned my lesson there, boy. I will never take something in somebody else's drink. If I asked him, we had him on, and I asked him that, he probably still would not tell me, like on air. He'd just start laughing.
We were doing a pregame show, Lucas and Kevin Dyson. We were talking about Toradol shots. And so Dyson, he's rookie. He's like, what's the big line for? Like, why's everybody standing in line to go in that? What's everybody standing in line for? And somebody's like, oh, they're getting Toradol shot. So he said he got nicked up. Remember, he said, so I was like, okay, I'm going to go get in line. Give me one of those. He said, I felt like Superman after I got that thing.
Yeah, I think that Toradol shot's up. I think they put some extra juice in there.
Did you do it early but not late, right? Is that what you did?
No, I did it late in my career.
You did late, not early.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just like him, just wondering, like, what's that line for? And they said, Toradol. I'll never. I said, I will never get that. I will never get it. I don't know what they're putting in my body. Yeah. Desperate times, desperate measures. Yeah. I think I was year 7 to get it. Yeah. I waited forever. And that's because I my knee was swollen and draining. And, oh, man, are you going to play? Yeah, man, I'm going to play, man. I'm good. I'm going to have to sit down here and talk to myself and talk myself into this Toradol shot. And I did it. I did it probably for half that's at least 5 games in a row. 5 games in a row.
Because I ask you, like, okay, if your elbow hurts, you get it in the elbow. If your shoulder hurts, you get it in the shoulder. You're like, no, man, always in the butt.
Yeah,
it's administered via the butt.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would ask. Say, y'all gonna be hit me in my shoulder? No, your butt. So, yeah, that was a heck of an experience right there. And then, you know what's so funny, man? It lasts for like 24 hours, Lucas, man. It's like you're a superhero. Like, you after the game, you're showered, you're going out to eat with your family. You may even go out to the club or wherever you go. Yeah, you feel great. You get out the next day, and if you had like an ankle sprain and you fall through it and got the Toradol shot, you'll literally fall down. Yeah, because that happened.
Oh, and it all comes back.
Yeah,
hard.
And I go, oh my God, I can't walk. I was like, honey, go get the crutches. And then I look down at my ankle, it's just swollen. I'm like, oh, man, this thing is just almost masked an injury. I don't even know how I did it. Yep. And that leads you to another one.
My whole body needs some Toradol.
And another one. Yeah, I would recommend that. Everybody that's old now, that feels old,
I just want to get one.
Get a Toradol shot. You just want to get it to see how you would feel?
Just once. I want to feel good again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think you would be like, I can vertical 40.
Okay. What if
I think you would.
Rabble wants to play soccer, just me and him. Toradol shot. What kind of shape am I in? Am I like Pele out there after that? Like Hani Mokhtar?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You made me even better.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's what happens in the athlete's brain. He starts saying, I play like I was 21 again. Yeah, he like with no pain, no nothing, never tired. I was just balling. I was tapped in. Yeah.
But the next day, you're tapped out.
Oh, man. Tapped out, man. Like, man, I'm in trouble.
We got to get in trouble. The Colts may be in trouble. They got their beat writer, George Bremer.
Out.
They did on their quarterback. George is going to join us next to tell us what the heck's going on in Indy on Blaine and Mickey.
Now, a TSSAA scoreboard update on 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. 1A girls finals are in from Murfreesboro. Earlier today, it was Dresden defeating Van Buren County 50-33. And then wrapping up moments ago, Wayne County 51, Cloudland 28. So Dresden and Wayne County will go head-to-head in the 1A semifinals on Friday. Coming up, tipping off right about now, Clay County and Gleason on the other side of the bracket. And then at 2:30, McKenzie takes on North Green. Designate a sober game plan. If you've been drinking, don't drive. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you, fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Certainly talked a lot about what's going on in Indy. Well, and now Washington yesterday. Carson Wentz getting traded, so we thought we'd just go to the source. I mean, anytime you need information from Indiana, you reach out to a Ball State grad. That's our director of content, Blaine Bishop, manifests that as he is a fellow Ball State grad with George Bremer, who joins us now from the Herald Bulletin newspaper, the Colts beat writer. George, how in the world are you doing? Not busy at all, I would assume.
No, not at all. No, it's been a quiet week. And Blaine, I think we're claiming Jonathan Taylor now. He's marrying a Ball State grad. That counts, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's a chirper. Nope, tell those Badgers to go home.
So it seems like this Carson Wentz and the Colts parting of ways, it seems for a long time like that was going to happen. I mean, immediately after the game, no one seemed to want to give that dude a vote of confidence, and it's only gotten worse from there. But what finally ended this thing? What was the determining factor, the call from Washington? What was the final, eject button for Carson Wentz here to get him to the Commanders?
Yeah, I don't think there was ever like one event, but like you said, the writing was on the wall really literally from the day after the season ended. I mean, when Frank Reich refused to commit to him as the starting quarterback for 2022, it raised a lot of eyebrows. 3 days later, Chris Ballard did the same thing, and then, at any point from that day on, they could have ended all of it by just saying, we've gone back and we've done our evaluations and we think he gives us the best chance to win. They never did that, and it was more what they weren't saying that told you everything you needed to know than anything that was said. But I think it's odd because he obviously came in at the behest of the head coach. They had a relationship together in Philadelphia, but he never really seemed like a perfect fit in this offense. They never got into a rhythm this season. When you've seen Frank Reich's offense operating its best here in Indy, they're going, 7 yards here, 5 yards there, pulling the defense up, then taking a deep shot over them. It has a real rhythm to it, a flow. Most of this season, it was either big plays or punts. The passing game never really got into that rhythm, and I think they're just trying to find somebody who maybe can get a little bit closer to that.
How much was this his play? How much was it maybe how he's viewed in the locker room or his ability to lead the team or just personal stuff versus on the field or maybe the concoction that mixed together on those two things?
Yeah, I think it's a mix. It's tough to really speak about the locker room because the last 2 years, obviously, we weren't in there.
Right.
And it makes it hard to really get a feel for what was there. You hear things, but I don't have any firsthand knowledge there, so I hate to go too in-depth on that. But there definitely have been more than whispers about things that they weren't happy with, maybe from a leadership standpoint or, just in general, the way that he carried himself in the locker room. But I think a lot of it had to do with, as I said before, he wasn't taking checkdowns. He wasn't making the layups. I mean, Chris Ballard repeated that about 14 times on that Thursday after the season when he was asked about what Wentz can improve on. They felt like there were plays to be made where the ball didn't go where it should go. Mm-hmm. And with a guy who's 29 and going to be 30 next season, you wonder if that's fixable.
George Bremer, our guest at GM Bremer on Twitter, Herald Bulletin newspaper covering the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, after listening to all that, George, I guess for me is, what are your personal views on what do you think the Colts should have done? Because, man, if you change quarterbacks here, whether they've changed quarterbacks 6 of the last 7 years or something crazy number every year, I mean, that's hard to have consistency in winning games. So, I mean, was Wentz that bad? I mean, who are they going to get better?
Yeah, that's what's going to be really interesting. It'll be 6 week one starters, 6 different week one starters in 6 seasons next year, no matter who is the starter, which is incredible. And you think about the fact that it'll be all 5 of Frank Reich's years here, he'll have had a different starter. It's pretty amazing what he's been able to accomplish in that kind of a situation. It's something that obviously can't go on forever. I think it was time to move on for Wentz for the simple fact that it wasn't going to work. I think once they determined that it wasn't going to work, there's no real use in kind of, trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole. But I don't know where they go. I think that's the biggest mystery of all of this. Obviously, Russell Wilson's off the table if he ever was on their radar. And there's not a lot out there that's obvious. I mean, you talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think he'd be more of that rhythm guy that they want, but there's baggage that comes with him as well. You look at the draft, and there's no consensus number one guy. I think when you talk to most of the draft experts, they say that none of these guys are necessarily ready to start year one. Free agency's not strong this year, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do now, but they've got it. There's no doubt it's the number one area for every team. It's the glaring need here. They've got to find a way to get off this carousel and get somebody who they feel like they can win with for at least consecutive seasons.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Man, you said Garoppolo, but he's coming off a shoulder surgery on his throwing arm. There's some, Jameis Winston's, Marcus Mariota. I'm sure, a handful of other guys, Trubisky. There's a lot of options, but what options in my mind do you think is better? Are all those better than Wentz in your mind?
No, I think that's what's really interesting. I mean, you could say maybe there's a slight upgrade with Garoppolo, but again, he's coming off a shoulder injury, and even just mentioning an injured shoulder in this town is going to make people cringe after what they went through with Andrew Luck. I don't think there's anything that's going to make the fans excited. I don't think there's any deal that's going to come out in the next few weeks or month or however long it takes that's going to, fire up this fan base. But it's really about finding that guy. I think they feel like they can improve just by getting somebody who executes the offense. And we'll see if they're right, but I think that's their mindset right now. They're going to be willing to take a step back in some other areas if they get a guy who hits that check down, who hits the open guy when he's there, who can maybe open up some more things for Jonathan Taylor by doing that.
Sounds like to me Marcus Mariota with the checks downs. Yeah, but that sounds up the alley. And one thing I can say is, do you guys think, the Colts, they need more weapons on the outside to help, the performance of the quarterback and the offense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's never just one guy. I think that Michael Pittman was kind of the Lone Ranger out there in the passing game for most of the year. They've got to get another wide receiver who can threaten defenses, especially a speed guy. They kept thinking Paris Campbell was going to be that guy, but he can't stay healthy, unfortunately. And so they've got to go find somebody with that skill set who can, beat defenses, take the top off defenses, be a really good complement to Pittman. I think they need a tight end. They need a field-stretching tight end. They drafted Kyle Granson last year, and they like what they saw from him. But I think that's something that you might see them dip into the draft and try to find this year. And I think that, left tackle is another glaring need, and it's a second straight offseason that you go into needing a quarterback and needing a left tackle. Last year they got Eric Fisher. He was never healthy. Reports coming out last week that he's not going to be re-signed. That's another area. Obviously, any quarterback you have, you want to get into that rhythm. Giving him some comfort on the blind side will go a long way toward doing that.
Well, with George Bremer, Indianapolis beat writer.
So, George, how frustrated are Colts fans? And I ask because anytime people start talking about great rosters, the Colts always get mentioned. They had that great offensive line for a while. I know you mentioned trying to fill some holes now, but they've had a great defense. They drafted a great running back. They've had good tight end play from Blaine's fellow Cathedral High School guy who's retiring, Jack Doyle, and others. But what's the frustration level like among fans? The Colts haven't won the division since 2014.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly high. For the longest time you had the whole drama with Andrew Luck's injury, and everybody was kind of waiting for him to get back and get healthy. And when he finally did, they had a good season. You're not able to build off of that because he retires, and you've been in a quarterback purgatory ever since then. The frustration's incredibly high because you look at the rest of the roster, they had 7 Pro Bowlers this year. They've got a Pro Bowler at every level of the defense. It's one of the first things Gus Bradley said when he came here as a defense coordinator, that, when he looks at that, he's really excited about what he has to work with. But you can't find that trigger man to kind of be at the center of it all. It's kind of ironic because I think for years, looking on the outside, people would say, well, they've got Andrew Luck and not enough to support him. And now it's the exact opposite. You've got the supporting cast, and you don't have the quarterback to get you over the top.
Has some of the shine come off of Ballard and Frank Reich at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely heat on both of them. I don't know what level that's at right now. I think some of what happens the rest of this offseason and obviously what goes through next season will determine that. But there's no doubt they didn't have a good offseason last year. When you look back at what their needs were, they had edge rush needs. You drafted 2 young guys. They feel pretty good about them, but one of those guys was hurt almost the entire year. They let Denico Autry go to Tennessee. He obviously had a big impact there. They let Justin Houston go. Never really replaced that veteran presence on the defensive line. I think that's something that hurt them last year and that they regret. And then, the quarterback and the left tackle position, you didn't get what you wanted. 1 year out of both of those guys, you don't make the playoffs. I don't know how you can say it as anything but a failure. Obviously, there's a lot of good both those guys have done here, but at the end of the day, you got 1 playoff win, no division titles, and now you're looking at whatever's going to happen at the quarterback position this year. I think there is pressure to start winning games, especially in the postseason. And it's, right now it's hard to see what that path is. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks.
Man, George Bremer, our guest, talking Colts. He's their beat writer right here on Blaine and Mickey.
George, what do you think about these rumors of the Raiders and Derek Carr? I don't think the Raiders have a first-round pick, do they?
I don't know. The Colts don't. I know that, and I think that would be a really tough thing to pull off a deal with. Obviously there's ways to do it. The Rams got Matthew Stafford last year without a first-round pick in that draft, but those are different circumstances. And I do think the Colts have interest in Derek Carr. I think a lot of teams would probably have interest in Derek Carr. I think he's somebody that they from afar, they played him a lot. I think the last 4 or 5 years they played the Raiders. So they've seen him a lot. They've got a nice up-close look at him. But, again, that's what makes this so tough right now. They don't have a lot of assets. They gained some in the Carson Wentz deal, but, there's no first-round pick this year because that went to Philadelphia. There are obviously talent on the roster, and if you want to dig into some of those players, maybe you can get creative and make something happen. But I don't know. To me, I would think the Raiders could get a better offer from Derek Carr than what the Colts are going to be able to cobble together.
Did Wentz have a previous relationship with someone on the coaching staff there with the Commanders?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I know he had a ton here, but most of those guys had left before him. Press Taylor went to rejoin Doug Peterson in Jacksonville, and Mike Groh left to be the receivers coach with the Giants. So, a lot of that support staff that was here, I mean, obviously Frank Reich was the big one, and he's still here. But a lot of the guys that they brought in to kind of work with him last year are gone already this year and were before he left. So I don't know if there's a tie in Washington or not. I haven't looked that closely yet.
It seems like this is kind of an emotional reaction. And granted, they got out of his contract from the loss, at least from the Jaguars, from outside looking in. Do you think that was more Irsay's call, or was everybody on board here that they needed to move on from Carson Wentz?
There's no doubt the owner is extremely angry. I think that's really well known, and I don't think that's ebbed much since the season ended. That definitely played a factor in it. But he's never really been one to meddle. Right. I think he's very vocal. He's one of the few owners who actually came up on the football side. He's been a GM. The Colts have been his life. It's been his family business. That's really the only thing he's ever known. So, he definitely will make his opinion known, but I think he's a smart guy. He hires guys to do a job and lets them do the job. That being said, all of us, if your boss is saying he wants something to happen, you either do it or you better come up with a plan that works, because if you go another way and it doesn't work, we know how that ends.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with George Bremer, Indianapolis Colts beat writer.
What other Colts moves do you expect to happen? Like the Titans have released Rodger, Saffold, had some other moves. What can we expect to see from the Colts that hasn't already happened over these last couple of days?
Yeah, they're really good cap space now. I think they're number one in the league after the Wentz deal, like $70.5 million or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see. Ballard has tended to hold that close to the vest over the years. I would think that the idea this year is going to be to try to build the roster up as much as you can, so whoever comes in at quarterback, it'll be a good situation for them. Whether that's a rookie, I think it's possible that they did move up a few spots in the draft as part of this Wentz deal as well. I think they could do that again. They might look to get into the back end of the first round if there's somebody that they really like, or whether it's someone like Marcus Mariota, a free agent who's going to come in. I think you're going to want to try to put as many weapons around him as you can. But that's not just on offense. You know, that you could go get a veteran pass rusher and change this defensive line. You know, you could. I think they're going to add a safety. I really think that's one thing I would put money on. Just looking at Gus Bradley and what his defenses have done over the years, you really need 3 safeties. They've got 2 right now. I think that that's something they could go look at in free agency or early in the draft. But they have a lot of flexibility to make, you know, a lot of different kind of moves. It just all comes back to not having that biggest piece and not really having a real clear direction on how you're going to fill it.
Well, George, people can follow you, and they can keep up with all the latest at GMBREMER. We'll get them there on Twitter, or if they want to consume it via the Herald Bulletin. Thank you, sir, for the time, and we'll talk again soon.
Chirp, chirp.
Nope. No problem. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yes, sir. George Bremer, always good to catch up with him. There you go. We told you off the top of the show, Kendall Lamb cut loose, Rodger Saffold cut loose. Maybe you missed this. The Titans are bringing another player back. Another guy got a 1-year deal today. We'll tell you who that is coming up next on Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone.
Who that?
Now, a TSSAA scoreboard update on 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. 1A girls quarterfinals happening right now in Murfreesboro. Earlier today, it was Dresden defeating Van Buren County 50-33 to punch their ticket to the Final Four. Wayne County, with its 19th straight win, a 51-28 final over Cloudland. They will take on Dresden in the semifinals on Friday. Currently underway at the half. On the other side of that 1A girls bracket, it's Clay County and Gleason. Gleason leading Clay County 27-24 at the break. And then coming up at 2:30, McKenzie and North Green will battle for that final spot in the 1A girls Final Four. There's no need to consult the playbook. The winning strategy is to always designate a sober driver. Fans, don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Blaine Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Overtime, Texas A&M in Florida, right down to the wire. There's going to be a second and change left, and A&M just hit an unbelievable three to put them up 83-80.
No, it's just the change that's left, not even the second.
It's
point
four,
Yeah, point four.
not 1.4.
Yeah, point
Oh,
four.
this poor lady on the broadcast here looks like somebody just shot her dog. Florida fans, sorry, Florida fans, but
That probably knocks them out.
you could catch one in the air. You need run what 4 goes and just have people run straight up the court, find the most open guy and hit him on the fly so he can just throw it forward with his hand.
Like a volleyball set.
I think you got enough to. I think you could catch it in the air and throw it in .4. You could do that.
You think so? Oh,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I'm saying this loss knocks them out of the
I
tournament.
mean, my release was
The
so
NCAA
quick.
Yeah,
tournament?
the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I could easily.
I'm throwing it at the basket and doing an alley-oop from end to end.
Boy, that's at Grand Hill.
They're in their home state too. You can't go one and done.
How many
Well,
seconds?
at least it's a quick drive home.
How many seconds?
Gainesville, not too
the
bad.
Christian Leitner deal. How long was that?
How long was the Leitner deal? Because he caught it, turned, shot it, set his.
Yeah, he spun.
They had a couple seconds.
He was cool as a
See?
cucumber.
That's
And
what
I'm
saying.
sorry.
And I just think that's kind of where
Sorry,
they're taking the
Kentucky
ball
fans.
out.
Oh, they're throwing it deep.
Nope. Not even
No,
close.
that never works.
Yeah, well, yeah.
With the big man doing it too. The football pass.
That's why I say you
Colin
run
Castleton.
the 4 goes and you just
Because
you
you had
hit
to
the
have
guy
somebody
who's
guarding the out of bounds guy, so
Yeah.
make it tough for him to throw
make
it.
it tough to throw it.
That's gonna put some pressure on Mike White at Florida.
83-80, the final.
19
Sorry,
to 13.
Gator Mike, if you're listening.
Uh-oh. Yeah, his job's in jet.
I think so. I mean, it's been pretty underwhelming there, and to not make the tournament, you had everything to play for, go one and done in your home state.
Oh man, Ugh.
A&M just boosted their possible hopes.
Boy, Vandy beat the living poo out of Georgia last night. It was 80. I'm seeing the score 86-51. It wasn't that close.
Yeah, Green got to go.
Yeah, he's
Horrible.
He's gone. They're parting ways.
I guarantee you there's nothing left in Crean's office right now.
Oh, yeah. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution had a report 2 days ago.
He was
parting
gone
ways at the end of the
after the
season.
end of the- yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, he's already in Florida in
Yeah,
his vacation home?
He's done
yeah,
so.
that dude's working on his tan. He is married to Harbaugh's sister.
Right.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Joni.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they'll have more time to spend together and it'd be a nice buyout and just more money. And he's Tom Crean. He'll get another job or he'll be on TV. I mean, he'll land on his feet. It's like the other dudes down the food chain on the staff. It's like, okay, what's going to happen to that guy? Because most of those dudes are on like a 1-year contract that gets renewed year to year.
Georgia hasn't done a good job of hiring basketball coaches. the
Not
last
at
couple
all.
hires. Yeah, because I'm hearing rumors that they're going to hire some former player that's an assistant coach somewhere.
Xavier.
Xavier,
Yeah,
right.
I can't remember his name.
I'm
but
like,
it's-
I got to go with a proven guy at this point in time. Somebody's big name that can get it done.
look, the rest
You
of the league.
cannot be messing around with that. That's a developmental type coach. You don't
Everybody
know
else
what he's
is
gonna do.
committing, too. The whole league is committing to basketball. You
Well, they
can't
did
go
a few
hire-
years ago, and here's the thing. It actually worked.
Yeah.
They committed to being better in basketball. Blaine we were talking about this in the commercial break. You're like, SEC just made up their mind a few years ago. We about to get good at basketball.
about 4
and
or 5
son
years
of a
ago.
gun.
Mhm.
Well, I thought that's what the Crean hire was. I thought
Yeah.
that was a good hire. That's a guy who took Marquette to the Final Four and has coached at a big-time program.
I
My
didn't.
goodness, that did
he
not go
was
well.
horrible. I follow Indiana basketball. He was horrible. They never liked him. He was doing ding-dong stuff in critical situations.
Here's the
He
thing.
didn't get the big-time recruits. Indianapolis or Indiana has
Yeah.
a lot of basketball players
He
because it's so
recruited
cold.
better at Georgia than he did Indiana.
Right, but half the guys left.
Yeah.
They left. Some of them, like 3 or 4 of the main guys left.
He went 16-16 with the number 1 pick in the draft, and Anthony Edwards.
And here's the thing. If you're at an SEC school, if you're at Georgia, if you're at Florida, if you're at anywhere, you have unlimited money. You can hire whoever you want, and you can
Unlimited
pay them.
resources.
You can pay them anything you want.
You could pay him.
You can pay him anything. So it's not like some schools just like, how are we going to figure out how to pay this guy? It's none of that. It's just, did you hire the right guy or not, or the right gal for whichever program?
That performance says you have to let the coach go. I mean, they gave up on him. You can't be beat like that by Vanderbilt. Sorry.
6-26. That's bad. You gotta be bad to go 6-26, even in this league.
You know, Georgia fans are so drunk on that football championship
care.
right now. They're like, oh, did we have a basketball season? Oh, I didn't even notice. It's spring football time, by the way. They try to watch these dogs hunker down again. I tease this, so we'll pay it off. Morgan Cox, he will hunker down as the Titans long snapper again. Look at that. Look at that. Transitions. I work in radio. Morgan Cox, we had this discussion yesterday in one of the segments. It's like, that guy was on a 1-year deal. We never even said his name. That means he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, run that back. Just tell him, hey, man, just leave your stuff in your locker here. The
Did they
contract
send him
is,
to another 1-year deal?
yeah,
Yeah.
1-year deal.
Yeah, I'm the long snapper, punter, and kicker for me. The way they play ball, the Titans,
Yep.
and Vrabel, and how he likes to keep everything close to the vest. I gotta have my kicking situation all together. We don't. I keep saying we don't have a kicker, and people act like that's just nothing. Sorry, that kicker can lose and win games. Yeah. So we've seen it live and in person 2 years ago. Bullock was getting borderline till he started hitting some more back to back to back. Yeah.
And then he got himself they had a couple of years where they were like the worst kicking football team in modern NFL history. Like in the 60s and 70s, even into the 80s, there were kickers who weren't, especially in the 70s, 60s, 70s. There were guys who made like 56, 58, 60% of their kicks, and that was good enough. And the Titans were worse than that for a couple of years.
You got to get you a proven kick because I don't even know if Bullock's coming back, man.
He's a free agent.
Couple more brewskis, man. He'd be out the league.
If you're,
By the way, a reliable source, Adam Pac-Man Jones says, and just think about this now. This dude was a great player. He says, I did his podcast, and we were going to play them naturally. He said they were going to win. I said the Titans. He said, Bullock, he didn't even know he was on our team. He said, he got him? He has a hook to his ball. He lost us some games.
when they were on the Bengals together.
First thing he said. He says, good dude, good solid kicker, But, man, when you get in clutch, that hook is going to come into play. I said, oh, he got that fixed. They make sure they line the ball up in certain spots when he kicks.
Remember they did that?
They did, because they knew he had the hook, too.
Right to left. Yeah, they did. Oh, yeah. Hey, man, what was the end of the one
He had
game?
scouted his own kicker right
What was
there.
the end of the one game where Tannehill like ran over to the right to fall down there so they could kick from there, and he went all the way over to the left.
And it barely, I was like, oh. Jeez. That's what I'm saying, man. They just, we can look past it, but that's critical, especially now with the, everybody's, really good and all the games are really close. Got to have a for sure kicker.
All right, what's going on with the Titans? A couple of offensive linemen are gone. They are cut loose per various NFL sources. We'll tell you who next. We'll get you up to date on all the latest with the Titans next on Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone.
It is 2:02. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Tennessee Titans making moves along the offensive line on this Thursday morning. Adam Schefter of ESPN with breaking news earlier today that the Titans have cut Pro Bowl left guard Rodger Saffold. That move will clear up about $10.5 million in cap space. Before that, Mike Garafolo of NFL Network reported Kendall Lamb has been cut by the Tennessee Titans. The the offensive tackle was brought in at the beginning of the 2021 season on a 2-year deal. That will clear up over $3 million in cap space. Nashville SC has its new stadium name. The home opener coming up on May 1st against the Philadelphia Union, and it will officially happen inside of Geodis Park. Geodis, according to the Tennessean, a French-owned logistics and supply chain company with North American headquarters in Brentwood. SEC tournament play in full swing. A overtime thriller in Tampa as Florida falls to Texas A&M 83-80, courtesy of a last-second three-pointer. A&M will move on to face top-seeded Auburn in the quarterfinals. Up next, in about 15 minutes, Missouri and LSU will play for the right to play Arkansas. Mississippi State and South Carolina go head-to-head at 5, determining who will face Tennessee in the quarterfinals. And tonight, Vanderbilt takes on Alabama after routing Georgia on Wednesday. Tip-off between Commodores and the Tide is at 7 p.m. After beating Dallas to jump to 4th in the Central, the Preds are back in Bridgestone Arena tonight, continuing a 3-game homestand and looking for their 3rd straight victory against the Anaheim Ducks. Tip-off is puck drop is at 7 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. So you heard Lucas Panzica's update. We got football updates. So this new stadium that I see on my way home every day that's looking good, they got a title sponsor, which some people might say, okay, what does that mean to me? It means lots of money for the soccer team so they can keep all the players that you like.
It means they have a lot of money too, though.
Oh, sure, yeah. They're going to have money. But that just means that the guys you like, when you start signing stadium naming rights deals, things like that, more money.
Yeah, we don't know the details of the financials between Geodis, the French-based logistics and supply chain company that apparently has headquarters in Brentwood, according to Drake Hills of the Tennessean. But, cool. That's the name of the new 30,000-person stadium. May 1st, that's the day, taking on Philadelphia Union.
You have season tickets, Lucas?
I do not have season tickets. I'm gonna be in there for the majority of the games. I never really pulled the trigger on season tickets, but maybe I should.
That's a long season. Yes. They play a really
they started, they just played their second game of the season. They've got 8 games on the road before they get to finally play in that new stadium.
Boy, that's a tall order. That's a huge win for them to start the season.
And all over the place.
But that season literally starts when it's freezing and goes until it's cold again.
Yes. Yeah, they don't get much time.
They're like NASCAR long, their season.
Especially if you play for an international team who Walker Zimmerman, Nashville Soccer Club.
Right, he gets like a week to catch his breath, a year.
He told us, he joined the Buck Rising show like a week ago. He told us, because he captains the U.S. men's national team as a defender for them as well. He got 7 days of no training, of just nothing to do between the end of MLS season and the start of the new MLS season because of his international schedule.
That makes my feet and my knees hurt just thinking about it.
Yeah, because those guys cardiovascularly are in a heck of a shape, man. You ever go out there and play some soccer? Oof.
Yeah, if you're a significant player at the professional level, both at the club and international level, you don't get a lot of time off. I mean, you might get a week or two.
Well, just think how good they got good. The team was good immediately. They immediately got their deal to build the stadium. Now they got their titled sponsor on the stadium. This thing is nowhere but up. And when I came here 7 years ago now, I remember us talking one day when we were on a different program, and it came up about, like, what's the next sport for Nashville? I said, it has to be soccer. It has to be soccer. It has to be. There's a community that would support it. It's an international community. Kids play soccer here.
Soccer's huge now, man.
Oh, my gosh.
The communities, people all over the soccer field.
See what happened in Charlotte last weekend? Bank of America, there was not an empty seat in the house for their debut and their new MLS team.
Ooh.
And they're building right-size stadiums, like 30 Gs. Yeah. I mean, and you said you've told us that's like the biggest.
largest soccer-specific stadium in the U.S., but with that said, some of the biggest MLS clubs share, right? Like the Sounders share with the Seahawks.
In Atlanta, they play in the Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah. And Gillette Stadium hosts New England Revolution. Bob Kraft owns the New England Revolution as well as the New England Patriots.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure that rubs Bob the right way on that team.
Yes.
So
they were pretty good last year, too.
So anyway, congrats to those guys on that. Congrats to Harold Landry. He signed his gigantic contract today. It was an awesome day for him. I know we got some sound. We can certainly play some of this in the 45 segment, but he sounded just relieved to have it done, right, Lucas? Said it was a nice thing. Let's hear from Harold Landry on his big day. Landry and his family there, and in Miss Amy's new palace that she's building over there.
Oh, yeah, that's where the press conference was?
Yeah.
Oh, it's already ready?
I don't even think it's all ready yet.
Maybe just parts where he was.
Can you imagine how much different that is? I know you guys got it when it was new, but it's like a different world.
Oh, yeah. They got a whole nother wing.
Yeah, maybe more than that.
Yeah. Two-floor wing over there. So that's pretty cool. I want to go check it out, man.
He, instead of the 18.7 franchise tag, he got $17.5 million per year, 5 for $87.5, $52.5 million guaranteed, a 5-year deal for Harold Landry. The other big Titans news today: Kendall Lamb and Rodger Saffold both released. Saffold's move saves over $10 million. Lamb's move saves over $3 million. So literally was about 13.5 total, I think, for those two guys. Not a surprise, either one of them, and Rodger Saffold's been a really good player. You know, they got him late in his career, and he's just come in here and lined up right next to Lawan and played really good football and made the Pro Bowl this year. That was cool because he'd never made it. It's cool to see him get that experience, but ultimately not a surprise. They can't keep everybody. When Harold Landry signs his 5-year, 87.5, almost said the wrong number, then some guys can't stay anymore. So there you go. The other side of the coin is guys getting cut loose today.
Well, we could say that they can't stay anymore. You know, there's a fallout and ripple effect, on the roster. But if you want to keep a guy, you'll find a way to keep a guy. I think, Saffold, when he was in there, was very productive, a really good run blocker. He kept getting nicked up with his neck or nerve or something to that effect. We never know the extent of injury, so that might have kind of put him into place. But he had one of his better, seasons when he was out there and actually made the Pro Bowl. So that'll help him. He'll land somewhere, or maybe even back here at a different rate. I'm not sure, but I liked him. A very intelligent guy, hardworking, blue collar, and he's very professional. So you like all those things. You want that kind of culture in your locker room. So now they're going to have to, whether they go veteran route or, young guy in the draft, or play a guy who wasn't playing a lot, see how much they change this offensive line. I think that's where we're going, because I don't know if we're going to get Ben Jones back as well. So that'll be 2 new pieces to the puzzle. And how do you address that? Do you do, free agency, or do you get it through the draft, or do you do both and kind of cover yourself either way? So they don't have a lot of holes, but definitely you got to, at the same time, fill holes, but you're also saying that we got to build for the future, too.
Yep.
So you try to address it, and I think they kind of mix and match with free agency in the league, let alone with the draft.
Kendall Lamb cut loose as well. Just on the surface of things, so I looked at his contract and thought about how little he played last year. I wondered, Lamb's got another year under contract. Maybe he'll get a crack at something. No, he got cut loose today, too. And that was like $3 million savings.
He was very disappointing from my perspective. I saw him actually play, didn't he? He was with the Browns the year before that. He was with the Browns at some point. Yeah. I watched him play.
He caught a touchdown against the Titans.
Yeah. He played. I mean, so I was like, I thought that was going to be something that, if something goes wrong, we got another guy that could fill in 2 or 3 games.
Yep.
Every time he filled in, he either got injured, didn't play well. I think he missed. He might have missed for COVID, or maybe it was injury. But it was disappointing, man. When you're on that 1-year deal and you get an opportunity, you're out there trying to prove that you could start in this league from his perspective. And he's underwhelming. I remember he got bull rushed right when he got in the game, which was unfair to him. He came in the middle of a drive, and I think somebody got hurt, and then he got out there. But at the same time, this is business. You need to stay ready. You can stand on the sideline for as long as you want, but nobody's going to give you any grace if they run by you or run over you. And, man, that was clear as day that, man, he wasn't ready to go.
He played in 12 games. I'm surprised it was 12. He started one.
He played in, but how many reps was good? Because sometimes they went with the 3 tight ends, and he was using him. And, so I don't know how much he was actually playing in those games, like how many snaps at tackle. But he was out there, so we got to see, and I was underwhelmed. I didn't like what I saw. Unlike what I saw in ratings as a young player, I was impressed with what I was seeing thus far to this point.
He played 10% of the snaps.
Yeah,
10%. And he got paid enough money that it's like, oh, this guy's either the swing guy or compete with Quessenberry for some
time. That's what this started off, and he got injured in training camp, but he was competing for that starting job.
Yep.
And so this is what you're going to have to deal with in the league now is, that swing guy and how good of a player are they? Can they actually start for you in a crunch for 2 or 3 games if somebody gets nicked up? Usually, offensive linemen don't get hurt a lot. It's really weird. But, man, this team got banged up. So the physicality and the way that they play and their style, I think you got to prepare for that.
You threw out a name earlier. I bet Titans fans would like to have back.
Oh, yeah, Undertaker. That's my guy. I like him.
Yeah, open up the casket and bring that dude back.
Yeah, because he's the blue-collar guy. You know what you're getting out of him. And he can fill in. Everybody's going to, he's not as quick-footed and everything else. But guess what? I see production.
Yep.
All that's thrown out the window until I don't see that he's up there protecting the quarterback. There's ways to cheat for your lack of athleticism at every position once you're to this level. And I think he understands that, and he understands who he is and what he can get away with. So I love him as the swing guy for a backup.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll go out there and block,
long.
play tight end, blocking tight end, and 13 personnel, do all kinds of stuff for you.
Yeah. The key to it, though, Mickey, is the price. What do you pay for that guy?
Yeah.
Like, they cut him. He was making $7 million.
Yep.
Right? So now you say, well, we want someone in between the 3. I think what they were paying Lamm. What were they paying Lamm? I think 3 maybe.
3.
Yeah, so you
Didn't
want
change.
somebody in between that. So maybe you come to agreement you're at 4.5, 5 for the swing guy. Man, that's a lot of dough to be standing there on the sideline. But guess what? He's just as valuable in my mind in this offense as the front side tackle or a backup quarterback.
Well, like I said with Undertaker, especially goal line, short yardage situations, they just put him out there as an extra lineman. I mean, okay, man, you're still going to play a lot. Doug Mathews, he always plays a lot. The former UT assistant, he led the SEC in rushing in 1969, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago. From Vandy, that's right. Doug Mathews joins us next with all the latest on what's going on with Tennessee and recruiting and upcoming spring game and more. It's Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Now, a TSSAA scoreboard update on 104.5 The Zone.
1A girls action happening in the Glass House in Murfreesboro at the moment, nearing the end of the fourth quarter. Gleason leads Clay County 45-34. The winner of that game will move into the Final Four in the 1A classification and take on the winner between McKenzie and North Green. That game tipping off later today at 3:30. Earlier this morning in that same bracket on the other side, Dresden defeated Van Buren County 50-33. They'll move on to take on Wayne County, who defeated Cloudland 51-28. Designated drivers are the real MVP. If you've been drinking, pass your keys to a sober friend. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you, fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Hit the sound. Hey, hit the breaking news.
breaking sports news on 104.5 The Zone.
I am so happy. My whole summer.
What's the breaking
I'm
news for?
so happy.
You're happy about what? The Titans have made a trade?
No, they have not.
Okay.
No, I've told you before. Baseball for me is just like my lifeline. It's my break. It's my mental break. Just like the Cardinals almost broke me last year.
Oh, my.
Jeff Passan reporting Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association have reached a tentative agreement on a new labor deal. While it still needs to be ratified by both parties, it is expected to be a formality, and when it is, baseball is back. He goes on to say players can report to spring training as early as tomorrow. Oh. Sweet mother of pearl.
Oh, so if Mickey is on vacation next week, he is in Florida somewhere.
I'm going to get my butt to Jupiter, Florida. Oh, man, I have goosebumps. Whoa.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm so
gracious.
pumped.
Man, so you must like watching paint dry.
Oh, I like the Cardinal red paint drying. I'm so excited. Coach Doug Mathews joins us now. Coach, I'm over the moon, man. The baseball labor dispute got worked out. Are you a baseball guy?
I am. I grew up in a little town called Pitcher, Oklahoma, and when I was growing up, 5 miles away, there was a guy from Commerce, Oklahoma, named Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle, yes, sir.
We were all everybody that in that age group. I was probably, I guess, 6, 7, 8, 9, around in there. Everybody wanted to be a switch hitter, and one thing Mantle did when he batted right-handed, he would put his pinky finger on his left hand, the bottom hand, below the knob on the bat there. So every kid in Oklahoma at that time that batted right-handed, that's what we all did.
Oh. Well, if you're going to emulate anybody, that dude was, man, he was special.
Yeah, he was.
And if young people are trying to think, I mean, who would you even compare him to now? Mike Trout?
Yeah, probably, as far as speed and everything. And, of course, Mantle was an outstanding football player. As you can imagine, he had great speed. And, one thing he did that I don't know how we're even talking about this, but he would, when he batted left-handed, he would get 10, 12, 15 hits every year with drag bunts.
Right.
Everybody was playing so deep because of his power. He'd lay a drag bunt down, beat it out of first base. Of course, no power hitter now would even consider bunting. But yeah, he was a special and for that area. There wasn't 50,000 people in the whole county in that area. He's big time.
He's still big time.
Yeah, Coach, when I was drag button, that was called a dribbler.
I was just trying to get on base, man. I was just trying to hit the ball.
When I did, it was called a sacrifice.
Well,
got you. Yep, for the team, man.
Oh yeah, I used to say, look, that was a productive out I just made, Coach. You should be proud of me.
Advance.
Ultimately, the Vols doing a different kind of spring game for this year. Obviously, Neyland Stadium under construction, so that was out of the question. And I guess a Garth Brooks concert here might have knocked things out. So they're going to do a fan fest kind of a thing. It's funny, fans just really love spring games. So they're going to have to get used to something different this year, though.
Yeah, it is. And, as a matter of fact, something that's kind of been kind of misinterpreted there. When they're having the big weekend on the 7th of April, they're going to have a scrimmage that Saturday. But that's not the end of Tennessee spring practice. They still will have 4 or 5 more practices left. So it's just going to be a regular scrimmage is what it's going to be. But it's going to be indoors. It's going to be in the Anderson Football Athletic Center. They're inviting back every single former player can come back, and probably some other invited guests, but won't be open to the public. But it's just going to be actually another scrimmage. Now, obviously indoors, you can't kick off, you can't punt, you can't do any of those things. So I'm sure it's going to be some type of situational scrimmage, but it's not the last practice. It's not the 15th practice. They still will have 4 or 5 practices left after that.
Coach Doug Mathews, our guest, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. On average, a DUI can set you back $10,000. It can also cost your life. Remember, fans, don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, just like Coach Mathews every week on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, I guess for me, being that we cover, Tennessee, I would have loved to get to see him play in Nissan Stadium, and I don't know if it would have been a cost to that, and you had to charge the fans, which typically I think the spring game is free. So, do you think fans would have paid if they could have it in Nissan Stadium, or they're more like, okay, we'll just do it this way 1 year?
Blaine, I do, and I know this. I know that the athletic department really explored Nashville. I was told, 2-3 months ago that they were going to do it in Nashville. I don't think they could get the stadium worked out.
Yeah.
It would almost have to be on a weekend. Be very difficult to do it during the week.
Mm-hmm.
But Tennessee had planned on doing it. I mean, they wanted to come. Coach Heupel wanted to come over here, and I talked to the athletic director, know about that. But I think it's more of they just could not get the date worked out for some of the reasons you talked about. Plus, Titan Stadium Nissan Stadium is having they're having some issues with their turf. What's new, right? They always seem to have that, but I think it was more of that, and there really wasn't any other place to have it. They could have gone to Chattanooga.
Yeah.
They could have gone up to East Tennessee. But here in Nashville, that was about the only place where they could have it. So I think they just kind of looked at it and said, "Hey, this is a 1-year deal." If they would have done it on a Saturday, they probably would have had to bus over on a Friday. So I just think they took a look at it and said, "Hey, let's just do that for this year." And it was fans do like to see it. They do like to get that's the time when you can see a lot of the players, they're not getting ready for a season, and you can get autographs and pictures and things like that. Yeah. It's great for the younger fans, but, not going to happen this year.
Let alone it's still going to be televised, I'm sure, by the SEC network. So that will keep on going.
And they can't because of that. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think you're right. I haven't asked about that, but because of the arrangement with the SEC network, I think it's iffy if they could stream it. Now, the other part of it is that this is not a spring game. Like I said, this is going to be a regular scrimmage. It's going to be a Saturday scrimmage because they still have several practices left after this. So I don't know all the ins and outs about that. Just kind of what I've read. I haven't really asked, but I would think that the SEC would have something to do with something to say about that. I'm sure they've ran that all past them, and this is what they've decided to do.
Right. So moving forward, that's a big day. I mean, don't they, have recruits in during that time too? So, where's the front on the recruiting and kind of missing out on that too? Not to say one event is going to cause issues in recruiting, but definitely something that is always fun.
Well, Blaine, what's happened now with this early signing date, which is somewhere, mid-December 15th to 20th, kind of changes, moves around every year. Spring practice is so important. They actually have official visits that can come in the spring.
Okay.
So it's so much more because of that early signing date. It is so much more important to get players in there. I'm sure they're still going to do that. I would anticipate. I'm just guessing this, but I think it makes kind of common sense. The 7th, they're going to have all those things going on up on the campus. They're going to have a lot of former players back. I would suspect that they will have a good number of prospects, both, I don't know if they'll be official, but they'll certainly be unofficial that can come in with their families that weekend because there's going to be a lot of former Vols around. And plus what else is going on? They got baseball. They got a lot of other things kind of planned for that.
One more thing in recruiting. I see they're not doing a lot, at least in the portal. I know you kind of addressed that. Any concerns there for even just recruiting in general? And maybe they feel like they don't want to go down the road of transfer portal. I'm not sure.
I think they only have scholarship-wise. I think I'm correct on this. They only have 1, maybe 2 scholarship they've taken out of the portal.
Okay.
But, again, that's kind of by design. They're still waiting to see exactly what's going to happen on the NCAA investigation part of the recruiting deal. They're certainly holding back some scholarships for that. I don't know. That's probably not going to get settled, before fall starts next year. I know Coach Heupel is certainly looking at. Let me put it this way. I'm pretty sure that they have transfer portal players that they will announce that will be coming in after spring practice is over. Let me put it that way. I'm pretty solid ground stating that, I think. But some of it has to do with they're going to withhold a few scholarships. I don't know how many. Hopefully they can get an answer through the Southeastern Conference. What everybody's waiting on, and you all I know have addressed this a little bit, everybody's waiting on exactly what the restructuring or rebuilding, maybe would be a better term, of the NCAA is going to be, because it's not going to be anything like what we've seen in the past. Conferences are going to have a lot more authority, each individual conference. So I think they're kind of just waiting to see where all that's going to fall out, as a lot of people are. Hey, name, image, likeness is going to be changed at some point, but it can't happen until officially the NCAA is downgraded, which it is going to be. Will something take the place of that? Maybe. My bet is it's going to default probably to all the different conferences, and then you can get an answer from the conference. They can't get any answers right now. Just look. I mean, I know they're talking about and you all I'm sure have talked about this, the NCAA, the FBI investigation. That's been going on 3-4 years. And that's just now supposedly going to get handled here in the next few weeks. But it's just a lot of upheaval and a lot of turmoil, and nobody really in charge with any power in the NCAA anymore.
Coach, I one more on this note about the holding back scholarships. Kind of take us, the fans and myself included, through why you hold back scholarships instead of using them all, and then it moves forward. So in the previous past, have they given, I guess, leniency if you hold back scholarships? To me, I would still use them until they gave the punishment, and then it'll work into the next season.
I think it all has to do, Blaine, with where the tenure of your coach is. If you have a coach that's been there long term, then I think you would do that. But when you're building a program, this will only be Coach Heupel's second year, and I think what they want to do, and they tried to do this last year when they withheld some, let's get all that behind us, because he's still building this program. Will 2 or 3 transfer portal or 4 or 5 transfer portal players make a difference in next year? Yes. Will it put them in a position to compete for the championship? Probably not. Maybe it'll certainly put them closer. So I think it's the fact that because Coach Heupel, this is his second year, he's just getting his program going. They want to get that all behind him. They thought they did it last year, but then it did not get settled. Now it's been pushed into another year. So that's why I'm saying they're kind of holding their powder right now. But again, I would expect some transfer portal, not grad transfers, some transfer portal players to come in post spring practice.
Gotcha. We're on with the coach, Doug Mathews.
Coach, saw the Vols got a commit from young man Nate Spillman from right here in Middle Tennessee. Wanted to ask how much you knew about him, if anything, and also how is the fence building around Tennessee going for Heupel and his staff?
Well, 2 things on that. Number one, I know a lot about that young man. I have a grandson who plays defensive back for CPA. They played Lipscomb twice last year, and I don't. There's 2 Spillman brothers, and both of them are outstanding players. I'm not exactly sure which one he is, but they can run.
Nate, yeah.
And of course, I wasn't particularly watching them. I was trying to watch my grandson play. But, yes, they are one of the and I've talked about this so much on my Sunday show. It's easy for when a coach comes in, every coach is going to say, hey, we're going to build a fence around our state, whether you're in Nebraska or Oregon or where you are. It's easy to say that. Very, very few of them actually back it up with a lot of action. Josh Heupel he has been in Middle Tennessee. Now, remember, he could not go out, even leave campus until November of last year. That's the earliest he could go. But after that early signing period, he has been, that I know of, in Middle Tennessee, personally recruiting, not with a coach, but personally recruiting 4 different times. He's going to be here. He understands how important this is. They only signed 2 players in last year's class from Tennessee. I would be extremely surprised if that number isn't 6, 7, 8 this year. and he has, I think, 3 commitments now from Tennessee players. That number's going to grow, and this is an area that Tennessee must get players out of. There's too many players playing at Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson from the state of Tennessee, and Notre Dame. If those players are going there, they can darn sure play at Tennessee. I think you're going to see him really upgrade that. He's great at visiting with coaches, in my opinion. He's putting a lot of emphasis on it. And what he knows is he knows that he, as the head football coach, has to be the lead recruiter, particularly in Middle Tennessee, but throughout the state. And I think you're going to see that. I think Tennessee fans are going to see a big uptick in the number of players. Not going to get all of them. What's happened over here is, and you guys know this, probably 10, 15, 20% of the top football players in this area have moved in out of state. But there's still a big number of them that are from here and, grew up here. And those young men, most of them, even though Tennessee hadn't been a powerhouse, most of them and their families still would like to see them go to the University of Tennessee. So I think I'll be extremely surprised if we don't continue to see the numbers of that improve as we go year to year with Coach Heupel.
Coach, on the way out, what do you got coming up on Saturday and Sunday here on the Zone?
Well, Saturday, obviously, we'll be talking about the SEC basketball tournament. I say we. I won't be talking about it. Bill Justice will be talking about it. I don't know anything about it, except I tried to ask him questions. Tony Barnhart's going to be on. Interesting stuff going on in this conference now. What's going to happen down at Auburn? That's a strange situation down there. It really is. And spring practice starting up. Who are the teams that can make jumps this year? Can anybody get after Georgia in the East? I'd say probably not. Can anybody get after Alabama in the West? I think there's a couple over there that for sure can. But that'll be the main thrust. And Charles Davis will be back on with us this week too, and I'm going to talk to him a little bit about the combine. He was up there from a college perspective. What universities players that were up there for the combine, how did they show, and what does that mean for those particular universities? So I've got a full show.
Mm. Well, Coach, also, I guess give us a little bit background on the new wide receiver coach, Kelsey Pope, I think his name. I think he's with the end, and they didn't go outside. So, kind of give us a little brief history of what you know about him.
Something I really like to see. You bring young men in, and you want them to come up through your program as far. Love for them to be former players, but if not, to come in and be part of the program. One thing about if there was a coach, you don't want to lose a good football coach. Cody was an outstanding coach, but the fact that Coach Heupel's an offensive guy, Halsey's an offensive guy, Golish is an offensive guy. They all been together, and I'm sure if push come to shove, Coach Heupel or Coach Halsey could go out and coach those wide receivers. But they had a young man they brought in as an analyst. They really, really liked him. A lot of these analyst jobs, those kind of sound like, grad assistants. No, those men that come in for those analyst positions, many times they are outstanding coaches. And this young man, I know that he liked him from the get-go. I'm glad to see him move him up. He's got a very important job now. They've got, he lost 2 outstanding receivers last year in Bellis Jones and Peyton. One guy coming back, but there's about 6 young men there, including 4 early enrollee freshmen that have come in that are going to be counted on next year. So that's a key position. He knows the offense. He'll certainly have Coach Heupel and Coach Halsey and Coach Golish working with him on that. And it was he told me when all this happened that he didn't say who he was going to be. So I got a guy on my staff I really like. And so he ended up moving him up. Great opportunity for this young man. Great opportunity.
Cool.
Thank you, sir, Coach. We'll talk to you next week. We'll be listening this weekend.
You bet. Take care.
Yes, sir. Coach Doug Mathews. When we come back, Harold Landry talks some more about his big deal and what's so special about this place. He'll tell you that. What's so special about the Tennessee Titans? That's next on Blaine Mickey.
Now, a TSSAA scoreboard update on 104.5 The Zone.
Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The latest final to come in from the 1A girls slate down in Murfreesboro is a quarterfinal finish as Gleason defeats Clay County 55-39, punching their ticket to the 1A girls semifinal. Yet to tip off, Mackenzie and North Green will be starting at any moment now for the right to play Gleason in the Final Four. Earlier today in the 1A bracket, Dresden 50, Van Buren County 33, and Dresden will be taking on Wayne County, who will be looking for their 20th straight victory after beating Cloudland 51-28 in the quarterfinals. Coming up at 4:30 in the 2A girls bracket, Gatlinburg-Pittman and York Institute face off in the semifinals. Drunk driving is the ultimate form of unsportsmanlike conduct. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Harold Landry made it official today. He put his John Hancock, or as Chris Farley once said, his Herbie Hancock on his new contract, 5 years, $87.5 million. That was Tommy Boy. 52.5 guaranteed. What is it that's so special about this place? He got into that today in the press conference.
Oh yeah, no, I never came here before my pre-draft visit. But yeah, no, it's been awesome living here. Like I've said before, you know, that's also one of the main reasons why I wanted to come back here. My family loves living here, and I love living here and love playing here. But yeah, no, it's been awesome. Where we live at on Old Hickory Lake in Mount Juliet is awesome living out there. But I would say the biggest thing is just the people. Like, the people here are awesome. You know, they've embraced me ever since I got drafted, stuck with me through the ups and downs. And I just feel like it's the people here that make this place awesome.
You know, it's interesting, Blaine. He was a second-round pick. Derrick Henry's a second-round pick. A.J. Brown, a second-round pick. They don't have a second-round pick this year. They've had good luck with those guys. That's what I was just thinking about. Like, here's a second-round pick that just got $87.5 million second contract. A.J. Brown, second-round pick. He's going to get a fantastic second deal from this team. Well, those second-round picks, that's been a sweet spot for those guys.
What about the first-rounders?
I don't know what Panda's doing now.
I mean, who else did we draft?
Farley.
Simmons. He hadn't had a new one yet. Farley.
He will. Adoree got cut before he saw his fifth year. Remember, they picked up his option. You could still cut somebody after picking up their option. You can't do that anymore. They did it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Davis in the Big Apple now got his money.
So basically, listening at that list there, we didn't do so well.
Big Jeff
is the only one. They better not let him go. There's no way.
Build a fence around Big Jeff, right, at this point? Just build a fence around him.
No, he should be able to build his own big fence.
He can build a commercial fence from Rio Grande.
This is the next thing to Aaron Donald, man, but bigger. Dude, I'm telling you, man, they quit messing around. They better give him a long-term deal and pay now, and you'll get him in year 2 and 3 for cheap. This is the same thing that the Titans should have done with Albert Haynesworth.
I knew it.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go, because I was like, oh man, if you would have offered him 40 or 50, he would have took it. They were like, nope, we're $2 million off per year. Nah, let that go. Let it go. Go and get that guy. You ain't got to do it immediately, but he's got to be signed before the season starts. To me,
wasn't the deal with Albert? Wasn't it somewhere in the 30s for an extension? Not even 50s or 60s or hundreds. Wasn't it like 37 versus 34 or something like that?
Yep.
And you could have had Albert Haynesworth?
At that time, he was the bull. Yeesh. He had that one big year. Well, it was really 2. But, he was the best interior D tackle until now.
Hey, one day we were talking about this, and I said at one point they called a penalty on Albert just because he tackled somebody too hard. And Mike Keith was listening that day, texted and said it was Maurice Jones-Drew. They just invented, it's like flagrant tackling. You can't, it's like, you can't, it's like 15 yards. You just can't do that.
Oh, I don't remember that.
He picked up that little rascal and he just like.
Oh, he slammed him?
Just slammed him.
Oh, that's because he probably had him in his grasp and he just dumped him on top of his head.
He dumped him. He did. It was like wrestling. He dumped him.
Yeah, man, this front four, man. Want to keep them together as long as possible, because to me, that's what gives us a shot at that bowl, that Super Bowl, the front four. You know, the offense can be up and down, especially when you're talking about when you got quarterback like Tannehill, but that defense up front, you got to be riders.
We got time for one more from Landry before we go, Lucas. One more on the way out. Harold Landry. Let's do the one on the way out.
Where he says bye? I'm
no,
paid.
Where he wanted to be here. Let's leave it with Titans fans with that today. He wanted to be here, but it's how he got it done. Let's hear it.
I mean, to be honest, you know, all the talks that I had with my agent, shout out Tommy Condon, CA, best agent in the game. But just talking with him, I was confident, you know, that I wasn't going to leave Nashville. Like, regardless of the tag or anything, like, not because, you know, I knew what was coming or anything like that. It's just I knew how much I loved being here, and I knew that I was going to do whatever I had to do to make sure that, you know, that I came back here.
Came back here. Harold Landry back here. Now it's time for us to leave here because 3HL is coming up next.
Yeah, he was coming back here for that price. Come on.
Me too.
Harold?
I would have held out for $88 million.
HL, man, I got you, man. You good to go, man. But when we go out to eat, man, you got us.
We got to go.
In the meantime, in between time, Mickey, peace.